What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be showing you the top 3 reasons why you still can't handstand. Alright guys, so the top 3 reasons why you can't handstand. Number 1 is you're jumping into things way too fast. The wall is your best friend. You gotta stick on the wall. We're gonna go over that as step 1. Step 2 is you're not using your hands enough as control. Remember, your hands are your new feet, so you need to be able to control from falling over and falling back with your hands. We're gonna break out powerlets if the floor is too hard. We'll show you that for step 2. Step 3 is your shoulder flexion. You have to have flexible shoulders. We'll show you guys how to stretch that so you can stack your shoulders over your hands, and then you have to have a strong core where you can put your hips over your shoulders, which are over your hands, keep your whole body straight and finding that center of balance. Let's get it. Alright guys, so step 1 is going to be getting back on the wall. If you wanted to move too fast in handstand, you got off the wall, get back on the wall. We're going to start from the bottom up and work on good form. So you see Nick's hands, they're really close together. That's not what you want. You want them to cover as much surface area as possible, so he's going to spread them out. That's starting with the hands. That's where you're getting a lot of the control from. Next is his shoulders. You want to be extended from the shoulders, not depressed, really extended. Bring your shoulders to your ears as much as you can. Third, we want to get our body off the wall. Only thing on the wall should be our nose and our toes. Nothing else should be on the wall. Also, you see his core is engaged, putting his hips over his shoulders, which are over his hands. Everything is in a nice straight line. Legs are flexed, his toes are pointed. You do that on the wall, and then you slowly can push off with your feet until you're in a handstand. Alright guys, so for step 2, we're going to be showing you how our hands play such a big role in finding our center of gravity. Before we hop over to regular land, when you're doing it against the wall, make sure your form is absolutely perfect. Reiterate those steps. Make sure your nose and the toes are only thing touching the wall. Make sure that we're pushing our shoulders close to our ears. We're stretching our entire body, pointing our toes, and our core is engaged. Once you feel very comfortable on the wall, then you can hop over to the floor. That's the biggest mistake a lot of people make. They don't want to use the wall. They just keep trying and trying on the floor and keep falling. Once you feel perfect with your form, it's going to make it a lot easier on the floor. So now, as far as our hands go, we're going to spread out our hands, right? And like we always say, if you have watched our other handstand videos, our hands become our new feet. So if we're going forward, you want to push down your fingers as if they're your toes, keeping you from falling forward. Same thing as if we're going the other way. You're going the other way, you want to put more pressure on your palms. Considering we don't have heels on our hands, you're going to want to stay more pressure on your fingers. But obviously not too much where you fall over the top. So let me show you what this looks like here. We're going to kick up. I'm going to have my shoulders over my hands. This way I don't have to get my shoulders over my hands, then get my hips over. My shoulders are already there, ready to go. In a running position, I'm gonna kick up with one leg. I'm gonna put pressure down, extend everything, press everything. I'm pushing down, you see on my fingertips, keeping me from going over. I'm staring at one spot on the ground, staying super, super focused. I'm just holding. There's a big difference between this and this. See how I'm extended now? This is gonna make it a lot easier for me to continue to balance. So for some people, you might struggle on the ground using your hands. For some people, it might be a little bit easier to use powerlets. It's the same exact concept though, because when I'm holding the bar, if I'm falling forward, I need to put pressure this way. If I'm falling this way, I need to put pressure this way. It makes it a little bit easier for some people. I would definitely try to learn both. One way will help the other way. So let me show you what it looks like on the powerlets here. It's the same concept. I'm gonna kick up, stare at one spot, focus in. Same thing, flex everything. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Notice how my hands, I'm constantly adjusting each way, keeping me from going over. So as you can see, your hands are playing such a big role when you're doing a handstand. It's literally your new feet.
If you're leaning one way, you have to put pressure down the other way. You're never really just gonna be sitting there just holding it without any pressure on any way. You have to put pressure. Whether you're falling one way, you have to put pressure to get you back. You're constantly going to be readjusting your hands in order to continue holding that handstand.
All right, guys, so step 3 is your shoulder flexion and your core strength. I see this time and time again where a lot of people don't have flexible shoulders so that their handstands are here. And that's not good because your shoulders aren't over your hands, and you're gonna compensate by arching your back, not engaging your core, which is gonna keep you balanced, but it's not gonna be good form. You're not gonna be straight. You need to get your shoulder flexion up so you can have your shoulders over your hands and then engage your core to have your hips stacked as well. So to do this, I'm gonna use a chair, the counter at home. I'm gonna use this Swedish wall here, but you just wanna put your hands on it at a good height, probably about shoulder height, and you wanna stretch, bringing your head through your arms as far as you can. So as you can see, I have pretty good shoulder flexion. I can go pretty far through. You want to stretch that for a few sets and reps. All right, guys, so your core when you're doing handstands, you should have a posterior pelvic tilt. So you want to tilt your pelvis up by squeezing your glutes, and then you want to engage your core by squeezing your rib cage down, and this will put you in a fully core engaged position, and you want to hold that the entire time in a handstand. A workout we can do to improve on this is going to be hollow body holds. I'll show you that right over here. Alright guys, so you're going to hop on the ground. Like we said when I was standing up, you want to have that pelvic tilt, your glutes tight, and your pelvis tilted up, your rib cage down, engaging your core. So everything's engaged from your obliques to your upper, lower, mid abs. Feet are off the ground. For beginners, you're gonna have your arms here, everything tight, scaps off the ground. If you're more advanced, get your arms over your head as if you're in a handstand. You wanna hold this for time.
Alright guys, so for a few bonus tips, putting all of them together, the way I really learned to handstand, I had my stomach against the wall. I started like a foot away from the wall, and I slowly brought my hips off the wall and forced my feet to follow. This forced my hands to be engaged. I had to push down on my fingertips, keeping me from going over the top. My hips were over my shoulders and my feet followed, which allowed me to be in a perfect straight line, never being bananaed. That's a great way to learn to handstand. Once you feel comfortable, 30 seconds holding it against the wall and you're starting to kick up or you're falling a little bit, try it that way. That's personally how I learned to really click for me there.
Guys, there's a lot of things to remember at once. It's kind of almost impossible to try to focus on everything at once, from engaging your hands, stretching your shoulders, stretching your core, pointing your toes, flexing your glutes, all that at once. So do it on the wall and almost make everything second nature. So all you have to do is focus on balancing and keeping everything stacked. From your shoulders to your core, your hips, your legs, this should all be one piece. Like if your hips move, your legs should move, everything should move together. So it's super controlled and balanced.
And doing handstands is a really big muscle memory thing. We're at the point where I can kick up and do a handstand basically anywhere, anytime, just because my body is so used to being upside down. Like we usually say, you gotta wanna be upside down. You gotta be comfortable being in that position. I used to get massive headaches when I started doing handstands because I wasn't used to being upside down. It's not gonna happen overnight. It's gonna take some time. So obviously stick with the progressions, focus on each and every progression. Make sure your form is right, do it against the wall, and it'll carry over to regular handstands, not on the wall.
Like always, like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna try to pump out 2 to 3 videos a week for you guys. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok. CoreCalisthenics.com if you need any calisthenics equipment. It's pretty affordable on there. And that's it.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Catch you in the next one.